having a bunch of his college buddies in town. And so when I walked into Just One More, there was like a dozen guys in cowboy boots and starched jeans, and I thought I died and gone to heaven.
We were there probably a couple hours, acting the fool, doing what we do. And this pretty girl walks up holding a tray of whiskey.
So I walked up to the bartender and I said, I need a tray of shots of whiskey. I need like a dozen. She looked at me like I was crazy. She's like, don't ask me any questions, I just need the shots. So she gave me a tray of Southern Comfort. And I walked up to all of these guys and I said, all right, anyone wearing boots gets a shot. We're gonna have a good night. And this guy stumbles up to the tray and goes, good thing I've got 2 boots. And he took 2 shots. And that was the extent of any interaction that we had that night, until I went home and added all of Brody's friends on Facebook.
I'm sitting in the front seat and Brody's driving and there's 3 other guys in the back. And I look at the phone and I'm like, did you guys just get a friend request from Brittney Meyer? And they're like, yeah, I got one too. I got one too. Of the 5 of us, Brody was already friends with her, and then we ended up with all 4 of us. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't really remember who that is. And then it hits me.
A couple days later, I get a message from a Josh Gilliland that says, hey, are you the anyone wearing boots gets a shot girl? I said, absolutely. So we started talking, I guess. We started chatting on Facebook that way. He had just bought a house, and so he was really excited about that. So we started talking, and
About everything under the sun.
pretty much. Probably 3 or 4 months into that, you invited me to Texas, and you said, you should come to Texas. You should come to Texas. And I lived by myself and worked 2 jobs and whatever, and didn't have. I looked up flights, and flights were crazy expensive. And so I called my grandma. I said, Grandma, I need your help. I met a boy, and I need to go meet him. I'll put a check in the mail tomorrow. And so I got in late Thursday night, and I remember him coming around the baggage carousel, and just like that first moment where we really saw each other for the first time. And you kind of smiled, and then you saw my t-shirt which said I Heart Grizzly Bears, which is, I don't remember the backstory to that, but there was an inside joke apparently. That night he had gotten us tickets to Cross Canadian Ragweed at the casino in Oklahoma, which is a big deal because they split up shortly after that. And I was still new to the whole red dirt music thing, which is what he lives by. And so that was fun. And we just drove back to Texas. It was a couple-hour drive.
So I take her to the airport, drop her off, and I make it back to the house. It's not far. And I wasn't home 10 minutes, and I get, I think, a phone call. And she says, my flight got canceled. And I'm sure I had some smart response back. And she was real coy about asking if she could stay another night. Like it was going to put me out. It was going to be a big deal. And I told her she had to stay in the terminal. But I went back, picked her up, and we got to spend another night together, and I took her to the airport the next morning. We started kicking around the idea of her moving to Texas, because I hadn't been there long, so I knew I thought I'd be in Texas for a while.
Had to have the reassurance conversations over and over again, because I wasn't sure if he was sure, and I don't think he was sure at all, but he was like, maybe I'll come get you.
We kicked it around, and finally she sounded like she was up for it. I was like, fine, I'll bring a truck and a trailer, we'll get it.
So with the intentions of moving down there and getting my own apartment, which I had even gone down to Texas and we went and looked at apartments. We were not moving in together, and I think I needed bathroom stuff. All of my stuff was in his garage, and I needed something, and I think I texted him or whatever, and he just goes, just unpack your stuff. Like all of it, or just like the bathroom or whatever. And he goes, just unpack your stuff. And so that was the conversation that we had about moving in together.
Yeah, it wasn't a big sit down speech. It was just unpack.
Just unpack. And so we lived together in his house in Texas. He had 2 roommates.
I forgot.
You had roommates. We got along really well.
So we lived there for a while. She got a job and was working out of town in Vegas. And I kicked around the job of applying for a job, kicked around the idea of applying for a job.
Okay, you had applied for the job in Alaska when we were still long distance, and it was the most traumatic thing ever because I didn't want you to go to Alaska because I figured that would mean that we wouldn't go any further. And so I was devastated. And then I moved to Texas, like everything was good. You didn't get the job in Alaska, and I moved to Texas and was like, perfect, we'll be in Texas forever. And
I applied again.
And then he applied for the job in Alaska again, and I was in Vegas for work, and I see on Facebook, well, that call is gonna change my life. For some stupid status that I knew exactly what it meant, but I was like,
it's very vague.
Before you had actually talked to me. And I was like, oh my God, he got the job in Alaska.
So we packed up and moved.
Yeah, I figured if I was gonna follow him to Texas or whatever, I might as well just follow him anywhere. And so we moved to Alaska.
Lived there for a year.
Lived there for a year. Yep.
So she moved to Texas to be with me, and then she followed me to Alaska. She met all my friends. Got a dog together. You kind of get to that point with a person to where if something exciting happens, you don't want to call your friends, you don't want to call your dad. I would get excited about something and I'd want to call her before anybody else. And it's one of those feelings where I was like, you know, this is a good thing. I'm happy. She seems to be happy. She followed me literally to the end of the earth, and we made it through that. So I got to that point and I was like, you know, we're moving out of here, and we're going to see some cool stuff, and I'd probably have a pretty good opportunity to pop the question.
My friends thought for sure it was going to happen.
I think everybody thought so, but except for
me. Except for me. I thought, well, I didn't know what to expect for him. It could have gone like on the couch, like, hey, you want to get married kind of thing, or he might have surprised me with some huge elaborate proposal that would have made Cinderella cry. Like, he could have gone either way, but I didn't expect any of it.
So a few weeks before we left, I went and I bought a ring, and I was like, you know, my friends had just went on a road trip through California, and they told me about this place in Northern California called Fern Canyon. It's a canyon that's got ferns growing up both sides. It's absolutely beautiful, and I was like, you know what, that's where I'm going to do it. So we drive down through Canada and stop in Seattle, and we get to the Redwoods, and I was like, okay, here it's coming. And we drive up to the entrance to this place. We're pulling this great big trailer full of everything we own. And we get to the entrance, and the road's literally big enough for like a golf cart, or a very small car. And I was like, the truck's not gonna make it, the trailer's not gonna make it. This isn't gonna work. So I was like, we've got another week and a half on the road, I'm sure I'll find something. And so we drive probably another 15, 20 minutes down the road, and we get a camping spot. And I asked the guy at the counter, I'm like, hey, how far is the beach? He says, a half mile up here, you cut through the thing and you'll be right on the beach. It's awesome. I talk her into it. We get set in for camping, and we walk down the way, and we end up on the beach. And as soon as we made it through the trees, I was like, this is awesome. This is one of the prettiest places I've ever been in my life.
It reminded me of the opening credits of Grease.
Yeah,
like the big rocks and the waves crushing against it, and like the sun was setting. It was perfect. It was beautiful.
And I didn't have the ring. And the only way I was like, you know, I bet I could run back to the car, and I was like, and that wouldn't be a surprise. So we go back, and we're walking back up the beach, and I see her stop at the bottom of the steps. She turns around and looks, and I knew as soon as she did it, I was like, yeah, she thinks it's perfect too. And so yeah, that didn't pan out. And we drive to San Francisco the next day, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna keep the ring with me everywhere we go.
We get to our hotel. We stayed at all La Quintas because they allow pets. And so we get to our hotel, and we leave the dog in the room, and we go find this Italian restaurant, and we have dinner, and it was a really nice place and whatnot. But I kept a journal on my phone of each day of the road trip, and was keeping everybody posted of where we were going and what we were seeing. And so we get done with dinner, and I'm sitting in the passenger side of the truck, and I'm updating for the day, my entry for the day. And all of a sudden, like, my door opens, and his truck's lifted, and I look down, and I go, did you just open my door for me? like clearly super chivalrous over here. He's never opened a door for me, like a car door anyway. But he goes, there's a first time for everything. And so I was like, oh, he's being sweet. So I like leaned down to give him a kiss or whatever, and he goes, I got you something. And I was like,
real romantic proposal.
I was like, what? And I looked down and he's holding the ring. So obviously I start bawling and I'm sobbing and I'm in my hands, and he goes, well, what do you say? And I like pull myself together and I look at him and I go, you didn't ask. And he goes, will you marry me? I'm like, yeah. And so
all that on the romantic glow of the La Quinta highway sign. super classy.
Chinatown and all these amazing places throughout San Francisco.
Yeah, all of San Francisco, all of Los Angeles. We're gonna go to Vegas. We're gonna go to the Grand Canyon, and I chose the La Quinta.
The La Quinta parking lot. Could have done it at the top of the Space Needle in Seattle with the sun setting. La Quinta parking lot in San Francisco.
It's good enough for me.
Yep. What I really love about Josh, I love that he is funny. He's always funny.
I love that she's willing to try things that I really enjoy, because she wasn't into college football. She didn't know the music that I love. And we go to lots of football games and we go to lots of concerts. I think she enjoys that, otherwise she just puts up with me enjoying that. I love that she's willing to accept the things that I like, and vice versa.
That he is willing to help anyone, give the shirt off of his back for anyone, whether he's talked to them recently or not.
She wants to cut her hair off all the time, and I love that she leaves it long because I told her I'd leave her if she didn't.
He's willing to stick up for me to some of his friends. They know who they are.
Some of them are here. I love and hate that she makes a friend in less than 10 seconds. So we could walk into a place, somebody that she's never met, and she's got a new best friend in under 15 seconds. I love that she can do that because there's never a dull moment, and I hate that she can do that because there's never a dull moment.
He takes care of me. I mean, he's a good man.
Going back to the first time we met, she walked into a group of 12 guys standing there being loud and obnoxious, and wasn't intimidated at all. And that's why we know each other, and I love that.
He's smart. He's a lot smarter than he would even give himself credit for or apply himself for. He is very, very smart.
She laughs at my jokes, which is a pretty big deal for me, whether they're funny or not.
I love that he's an animal lover, and he bought me a dog. I love that you bought me a dog. I love you for that. I really do.
I love that she's out of my league. I think the best analogy I've gotten from one of my friends was that I outkicked the coverage. And if you know anything about football, you know that's true.
You're the macaroni to my cheese. Or the cheese to my macaroni, or whatever.
I love that she tells people that she cooks, but she doesn't make anything that's not in a casserole dish, or a hot dish,
or a crock pot,
or a crock pot, or anything else that takes no effort.
I love that he cooks. I'd probably go hungry a lot if he didn't. I don't have to cook cereal.
I love the way her jeans fit from the back, specifically.
I love that Josh is a morning person. I love it. I love it so much because I could kill him any day before noon because he wakes me up every morning and he's like a ray of sunshine.
I love the way we have a giant sink in our bathroom with 2 separate sinks, so there's one for each of us, and all of her stuff is, I don't even have a corner of my sink, I have none sink.
I love that he is a lollygagger. He walks really slow.
Like nowhere to be.
And I get that every time. And I have long legs and wider strides.
I love the way when we bought a house that we set ground rules that the garage was mine and the house was hers. And 3 months later I had half a parking spot left in my garage because it was full of wedding decorations.
And I really, really, really love how everything is so black and white. Like, I'm emotional, and I'll be like, gosh, I'm really tired. Go to sleep. I'm really, really hungry. Eat something. Like, it's just very black and white. Like, I'm really upset that I'm arguing with my friend. Don't talk to her. Like, it's just, it's not that simple.
I love the way that she told me she had a surprise for me, and I came home from work and she painted my living room green.
Figured you'd be happy you didn't have to paint it.
I don't like green.